Hey, I hope you're doing well wherever you're tuning in from. Today, I'm going to share with you a four-step process to help you work through difficult emotions. This is often where we need our mental strength the most, right? There are moments in life for all of us that are hard, painful, scary, really difficult to endure. There's times when we feel grief, overwhelming stress, anger, embarrassment, remorse, just sadness, or any other difficult emotion. And the thing is that as human beings, our first instinct when these unpleasant emotions arrive is usually one of two things. We either try to avoid feeling what we're feeling. So we try to escape it, we try to struggle with it, we try to push it away or distract ourselves from it, or we lose ourselves in the difficult emotion. We become totally overwhelmed, or, there's an expression, we start to drown in the emotion, or sometimes we become so overwhelmed that we lash out. Now, the problem with these strategies is that when we drown in our emotions or become overwhelmed, or we start to fight with difficult emotions, in both cases, what we tend to do is we prolong the feelings and we make them more intense. And when we lash out, when we become overwhelmed, we kind of lose ourselves completely in the emotion. But there is another way that we can approach these moments when we're faced with these strong and charged and difficult emotions. There's a way that we can actually face these emotions and move through them in a really healthy and life affirming way. This is where the RAIN practice comes in. So, RAIN is an acronym for the four steps that I'm going to walk you through to deal with difficult emotions. And this was first developed by a lady called Michele McDonald over 20 years ago, but it was popularized by the mindfulness teacher Tara Brach. So, RAIN is an acronym, RAIN, and it's a mindfulness based practice to help you work through intense and difficult emotions. So here are the steps. R is for recognize. So in this step, you simply take a moment when you're feeling any kind of difficult emotions to just recognize and acknowledge that this emotion is here. So you gently turn towards what you're experiencing instead of away from it, and you turn towards it in a non-judgmental and kind of open way. So in this step, what you want to do is tune actually into your present moment experience of what's happening in your body. What are the sensations of the emotion actually feel like? Is it a heaviness? Is it buzzing? Is it tingling? Just taking a moment to be with the emotion. And it can be really helpful in this step to mentally name what you're experiencing. For example, to say to yourself mentally, I'm feeling stressed right now, or I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm feeling sad right now. This recognition of what you're feeling opens up a bit of mental space so that you're no longer so caught up in the emotion, but now you're kind of taking one step back and viewing it with awareness. And research actually shows that naming an emotion like this can reduce the intensity of the emotion by up to 50%. A in the RAIN process is for allow. So allowing means just letting the sensations that you've acknowledged simply be there without trying to fix, avoid, or fight against anything that is happening in that moment. So you might even say to yourself here something like, um, it's okay for this to be here. Now, allowing doesn't mean that we have to like the situation. It simply means we're aiming to soften or completely drop our mental resistance to what's happening. And this is so important because often we have this unconscious impulse to push away, suppress, or ignore difficult emotions. And when we engage in that inner struggle, we unknowingly create more suffering and more tension. In fact, research shows the more we struggle with difficult emotions, the more we tend to prolong those feelings and make them bigger. Why? Because in that unconscious struggle with the emotion, what we don't realize is we're actually getting caught more up in our thoughts and emotions. So when you allow strong emotions to be there, it's a bit like um, taking that step back so that you're no longer caught up. And there's often almost immediately a sense of, softening around the emotion, a sense of ease, just relaxing with it. Okay, so these two steps, you might say to yourself, I'm feeling stressed. It's okay for the stress to be here. Okay, the I in RAIN stands for investigate. So in this step, you're bringing a gentle curiosity to your emotion and you're inquiring what you might be able to learn or understand about the emotion. Now, you may not always need this I step because sometimes just the recognition and the acceptance is enough. But at other times, you might feel naturally drawn to using this step. So to investigate, you can mentally inquire with questions like, why do I feel the way I do right now? Are there events that happened that are influencing how I'm feeling? You might also ask yourself a question. I love this question. What do I need right now? And my personal favorite question to ask myself when I'm doing this kind of inquiry is, if this emotion had a voice, what would it say? Because the thing is that emotions actually often hold a lot of wisdom and intelligence if we'll just stop to listen to them. They can be great teachers. They're often trying to show us something. Perhaps we have an unfulfilled need, um, or there's something that we need to change in our life, or they can just hold a lot of information that we can then use towards intelligent action, wisdom, and healing. So these questions, these inquiry questions can help us to come into wiser relationship with our emotions to see what we can do to look after ourselves or what insights we can learn about ourselves. The final step of RAIN is the N, which stands for nurture with self-compassion. In this final step, the goal is to bring a compassionate and kindly awareness to the sensations of the emotion in your body, whether it's fear, frustration, sadness, or anger. And you might just place a hand on your body where you're feeling the sensations of the emotion the most. And just tune in with your awareness to that place in the body and sort of have a sense of bringing that part of your body kindness in the same way that you would want to bring kindness to a loved one who is hurting. And in that moment, you can say to yourself mentally, may I be kind to myself in this moment. And you can also, in this particular step, so it's nurture with self-compassion. So you're bringing a kindly attitude towards the emotion, but you also want to try to sense what that hurt, frightened, or tender place inside you most needs. Does it need acceptance? Does it need love? Does it need forgiveness? Does it just need a rest? So inquiring in this step, if there's something that you can actually do to meet the needs. For instance, in this step, maybe you can realize that one action that you can take would be to go and take a nap. You're tired, run a bath, or call a friend for support. Right now, what I really need is support, connection. So you could make that phone call. It might be the realization if you ask yourself what you need, maybe, you just need some kindness. So you could mentally offer yourself some words of kindness like, hey, I love you just as you are. Everyone makes mistakes sometimes. It's okay to feel what you're feeling. Whatever words of kindness and support come up to you naturally. So in this step, what we want to do is, bring ourselves compassion and kindness, but also we're learning here to meet our own needs, to meet our pain with compassion and wisdom and presence. And that can be incredibly transformational, healing, and empowering. It really galvanizes our inner strength, nurtures our wounds, and grows insight and self-awareness. So the next time you're feeling a strong or challenging or charged emotion, try these 4 steps. So the steps again, R is for recognize the emotion, right? Right now I'm feeling stressed. A, allow it. It's okay for this to be here. I, investigate the emotion. If this emotion had a voice, what would it say? And N, nurture with self-compassion. Yeah. May I be kind to myself in this moment? So I know this is a lot to take in and a lot to remember for when the next time comes along that you're feeling a charged emotion. So if you'd like to have a little bit more support with this practice, I have a free meditation for this 4-step process that you can use. You're going to find that in the show notes. And you can just, tune into that, plug your earphones in and follow along with the instructions the next time that you're feeling those difficult emotions. And hey, if you ever find yourself overwhelmed or challenged by a really big, strong emotion and you can't remember these steps and you're not near the meditation, you can make a huge shift in that moment if you can simply remember not to run from the difficult emotion, but instead to meet that emotion with a kindly, curious, and compassionate awareness. I hope this is really helpful for you. I hope it supports you through the more challenging times of your life. Wishing you a wonderful week ahead. Take care and stay strong.